Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. What's going on, Gender Warlord? Thank you for being here mad early. And Gender Warlord says, at this point, I need to know what can black men get away with justifying, given people how people view and treat us, from children to men. They don't want that conversation though. And somebody might have watched the video in the link. Okay, so we're gonna give our response to Mr. FD Signifier, right? It's a video he put out recently, I think about a couple of days ago. And it says these dudes don't speak for us, right? And it has a thumbnail of Kanye, Tariq, Kevin, and academics. And I find it supremely insulting because we're not asking the black women to we let me say that again. The black manosphere is asking the black women to delineate themselves, but all of the rest of the black community, nah, not so much, right? So yeah, and so that I wouldn't go too far down the rant hole. I don't know if you guys can hear me right now. Okay. So that I do not go too far down the hole of ranting, because I am gonna rant. I made sure to put down a couple of points. So let me say a couple of them before I get on the road. So I see that FD and a couple of different people are attempting to fill the void of the late great Kevin Samuels. It is trying to pull black men in particular away from what they see as toxic masculinity, which is just masculinity that does not cater to every whim of black women. So there's that. And so I see FD attempting to fill that void, right? So there's that. Also, I wanted to say, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because, to be frank, you're doing a whole lot of marginalizing black men's concerns, their feelings, what's actually going on, minimizing. So pretty much doing exactly what we did before Kevin exploded on the scene. Literally, we're doing the same thing. We're telling black men to go back to sleep. Negro, there's nothing to see here. Eat it and deal with it. And I will be going into that a little bit more in a few minutes, right? I also wanted to address, yes, black men are the most liberal and the most progressive group of men in America, right? So that is an absolute fact, proven by everything from our voting patterns to our relationship models, and women hate it. Black women actually hate it because they don't do the social math to see what comes with conservative men, what comes with, and that's conservative in context of what America is currently, right? So what comes with conservative men, what comes with liberal men, what comes with certain relationship models, what comes with telling men you don't need them, you don't want them, or you do want them, you don't need them, or you can't stand them, but you might need them, all of that. And because we haven't socialized people in general, but women specifically, right, to know what comes with what we get is black women actually having the most progressive and most liberal difference. There's a difference there for those of you that are not so politically savvy. Having the most liberal and progressive men in America, and having an issue with what comes with that, because we actually, FD, listen, brother, and you know I'm not lying about this. Even your most staunch 10 toes down feminists, even some of the lesbian ones, oh, did Mr. Z say that? Yes. And the bisexual ones actually want patriarchy. They just don't want the patriarchs in patriarchy. And even that part of not wanting the patriarchs, they want the patriarchs when things hit the fan, that part. Right? When the Titanic hit the iceberg, ain't no feminists, is what Mr. Z is saying. And brother FD, you know that. The whole, and by the way, maybe, brother, and this is not me necessarily insulting your intelligence when I say this. Maybe you don't see it, but everything your side is trying to do in this conversation is maintain patriarchy without the actual patriarchs. We call it over here worker bees, right? We call it the hive, right? We call it, hey, do all of this and expect nothing in return. The delicate dance between men and women. Women want to lead it, fine, but still want men to put on a good show, be invested, and when things hit the fan, go ahead and clean this up too. Not happening, right? And the brother FD says no one challenges the lies told about black men. Thank you for saying that, brother. Um, and he didn't say no one, but he said pretty much. Well, I don't remember exactly, but he pretty much it was like not many people are challenging the lies told about black men. Of course not. They're invested. They're invested in the lies. Why can't we just admit that yes, you're 10 toes down feminist all the way to your everyday black woman and the they're invested in the lie of black men being these super monsters. And if we could just civilize these men, then everything will be well with the black community because there ain't nothing wrong with the black woman, and anything that might be wrong with her is because of the black man, right? Which is, by the way, how you get the black boys and the black men that are part of the black manosphere. Yikes! Is by continuously minimizing and marginalizing their experiences, right? It's funny that the group of people that believe that the personal is political then turn around and tell black men, yeah, not so much for you though. You gotta consider everyone else first. So what is Mr. Z talking? So what really got Mr. Z's boxers in a bunch is pretty much FD marginalizing black men's experiences and telling black men to consider harm distribution. Negro, what? You're telling the men that are part of the black manosphere because we've been ignoring the harm done to them for since slavery, but for at least the past 4, 5, 6, 7 decades. You're telling those men to still consider. Wait a minute. So you just trying to bring us right back down to intersectionality? How has that been working for black boys and black men for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 decades? Wait, it hasn't been. So yes, the term on paper intersectionality has been it's about 3 decades old, maybe 4, but the concept is so old. It's so old. And for the brother FD to pretty much try to get us right back to intersectionality, first, let me say this, brother FD. You could tell Kim and Khadijah and T Noir and the rest of them, they could kick rocks with that. The side you share an intellectual tint with, you could tell them to kick rocks if they think we're going to go right back to pretty much using intersectionality to benign neglect black boys and black men by telling them, yeah, we know you got plights. Okay, all right. Kevin and the rest of you forced us to acknowledge, okay, you got a few issues here and there. Okay, we get it. Okay, shut up about it. Okay, but your issues are still not as great as ours. Yeah, if you think black men are going back into that, yeah, you got another thing coming. If you think black men are going back into wait a minute, so you telling black men now, all right, it took you almost messing up the money. We're messing up the money, by the way, for us to even acknowledge that you had issues outside of prison and outright murder by the state. Right? It took you making a big fuss. It took Kevin Samuels embarrassing us. It took the black manosphere embarrassing us. It took black academics, the few of them that are actually willing to show their face and put their name on the paper. It took a few of them embarrassing some of these black feminists. It took Richard Reeves. It took Scott Galloway. It took men, that are not even black, to finally get us to be to pretend like we care because they still don't care. It took them, in other words, it took pulling teeth for us to even acknowledge that you had plights with black women that might be legitimate. It took all of that, and now we're telling you, yeah, but it's still not that serious, and just go back to sipping the Kool-Aid. Are y'all serious? Are you serious? So you're trying to get us right back to intersectionality is what you're saying. Yeah, nope. Nice try though. Right. So next is brother FD's half-hearted critique of Tiffany Cross. Okay, let's say this, brother. The part that you forgot to say, that you didn't forget to say, you just ignored it, was Tiffany Cross telling black men, and not just telling, chastising black men for not getting in line with behind black women. Once again, don't forget that line. That was the line right there, brother. So yes, she criticized the late great Kevin Samuels. Yes, she threw Tariq Nasheed's name in there, insulting black men, by the way, and essentially saying we worship at the altar of Kevin Samuels and Tariq Nasheed instead of doing what, worshiping at the altar of women like this. Okay, whatever. But it was the part of her saying, and y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. It was the part with her saying, get what, instead of black men getting in line with, we all know she meant behind black women. Once again, black women being the moral center and black men just doing their very best to not get in line with the moral center because black men just want to be difficult for the sake of being difficult. Brother FD, those days are done, brother. They're done. Y'all not getting black men back on the plantation, bro. You're not getting black men back to, you know what? Oh, you know what? Intersectionality has informed me that everything I'm going through is real, but I need to shut up about it. And that's at best. At worst, it's just nothing. None of this is real. Everything black women say is real. Everything other feminists say is real. Black male feminists say is real. And I'm just making a big stink, I don't know, of being murdered by the state and wanting the resources that might be garnered from that distributed back to black men and boys. I'm sorry, black men are now saying, wait a minute, where are all the bubbles and all the boons and all the gains going after a black man is murdered by the state on camera? Oh, the BLMs of the world? Yeah, no more of that. So we telling brothers, consider harm distribution, brothers. Translation, we're getting right back to intersectionality. Black women are black and women, and they might be LGBTQ, so we always got to think about them first. Even if you're the one being murdered by the state, by random white vigilantes, right? Even if you're the one being, and I tie this into anecdote that the brother FD Signifier tried to use, or did use actually, of him being the one to go put gas for his wife. And I have nothing to say about that. I'm not going to critique that in particular. He's the husband, you know, whatever he thinks is best for his family and his wife, then, you know, I don't have anything to say about that. Except, okay, and he uses the example like, okay, if anything, they'll harm him, but they will harm and kidnap his wife. Brother, you live in the world where they'll kill you before they harm your wife. What are you talking about? Whether it's other Negroes at the gas station, where there's some racist white vigilante, whether it's the state, they will kill you before they harm your wife. Y'all really need to play with the concepts and ideas, right? Of social dominance order. Because y'all don't really consider that, you really don't consider who the people in power, white people, white men, see as the bigger threat, and then what they do to that bigger threat. This intersectionality flies in the face of a lot of data. Because it continuously says, well, the woman, the black woman, is the most marginalized group, and then we have to view everything from her lens. And it says that if we elevate black women, then everything else will be right with the world, because black women are the most marginalized, oppressed group in America in particular. And if we just do right by them, then we do right by everyone else automatically. And it's so insulting, because for people that really want to believe in intersectionality, it doesn't consider class or social position or economics or any of that, i.e. the Oprahs of the world, i.e. right, the Gayle Kings of the world, i.e. the right, the Kim Fosters of the world, all of that. It's pretty damn insulting, actually, to continuously tell black men to minimize what's going on with them including their death by the hands of the state and random white vigilantes because black women's feelings about something. It's insulting to continue to tell black men to minimize what's going on with them because the way black women feel. Secondly, and I really have to stress this part and emphasize this, black women's harm on the internet. Negro, did you just say black men making fun of black women is an issue? If you don't tell these little soft, fragile, broken people to sit down somewhere, we don't care about your little feelings no more. That's how we got here. We got here because we overemphasized your feelings. We got here because we let your feelings be more important than black male death and marginalization and black boys not knowing how to read on grade level. We got here because we focus way too much on you being accepted by the white man. Yes, even intimately. In your little conversation about colorism and not being desired, we let that be more important than black male death, than black male education, than black men, period. That's how we got here, and you want us to go back there? Oh, hell no. We're not talking about me and my little plights enough. We're not talking about me and the fact that people may not find me attractive because my nose or my skin tone or my kinky hair. Screw black men's death. My feelings. Why don't we talk about me some more? What about me? Especially educated black women that are making some money. Oh yeah, that's really their issue. I have this education. I should have access to white men now. I should have access to the middle class. Critique that lifestyle and talk crap about it, but that's what I really want. I should have access to it now, and I don't. So what about me and my, can we find a way to make white men like me? Well, that's black feminism y'all don't want to bring up, that part. Now, much of it is just finding a way to appeal to white men's sensibilities. So these women can lay up white men under white men's penis. I said it that vulgar for a reason. Because the goal here is really to be the upper middle class and rich white woman. Shout out to Kim Foster. While we critique those women and black men because we're full of crap. That part. Right? It's pretty damn insulting what we're saying to black men. Ignore your issues or play down your issues or minimize your issues because the way we're and it's so fun, brother. I'm in the black manosphere with brothers like Rogish and brothers like Nameless. Okay, brothers like BGS, academics like Dr. T, Dr. Neil, Dr. Green Gorilla, right? So you trying to use harm distribution instead of saying we need to see it with an intersectional lens. You attempting to not use the actual words intersectionality or a lens through intersectionality or feminist lens or feminist critique, just because you didn't use those words and you said harm distribution doesn't mean Mr. Z didn't catch it. Because considering it the way you're saying to consider it brings us right back to intersectionality. And thank you for the super chat. And Big Kev says accurately that 75 to 85% of misogynoir is merely black women's bruised egos. Say that again. Say that again. Right? Exactly. And Gender Warlord said, oh, Mr. Z, remember he said the PhDs over here are just conservatives. Exactly. First of all, like conservative is just a ugly word. And I'm saying that as a lefty. Right? So let me continue on. So he attempts to do and Brother FD attempts to do the thing that some brothers over here do, which is like mediate your emotions on these things. In other words, okay, yeah, you may feel a certain way about us ignoring your plights or playing them down, you might feel a certain way, but consider the black woman and her feelings. Consider what the black woman is going through first. Consider what the black girls are going through first before you react or respond to what's going on with you at the hands of those girls and women. Translation to what FD said, you got to mediate your emotions. Brother, I may not be as formally educated as you. Not even maybe. I'm not as formally educated as you. But that doesn't mean I don't hear what you're saying and don't understand what you're saying. Especially when it comes to things like this. Now, going to what Gender War Lord said earlier, he calls men online reactionary. Excuse me. Excuse me. We are responding to the environment that people like you put into place, Mr. FD Signifier. The environment where people like you told us to ignore our plights because we got to lift up and raise up black women. And then we got to the place where your boys can't read on grade level. That part. We got to the part where your black daughters are getting college degrees. The black boys can't even, and black men can't even read on reading level. And then those women then turn around and chastise the men. And then say the men are not on the right. And the politicizing LGBTQism, all of that. So the men not being on their level is not just a insult to the men. It goes into the political also, which then affects the social. Right? And then let me say this also. I said this already. I want to say it again. Tell those women over there, brother FD, we said no. You're not bringing us back to a world where you run the yard with the conversation and you get to use intersectionality to benign neglect black boys and black men. I know, like you said, you're in an ideological tent with them. You told Kidology that y'all, many of y'all, y'all are on Discord together or whatever y'all are on together, right? Train tracks, right? And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And so y'all are having these conversations online, maybe even over the phone. And so you could tell those women to tell us what they called it. What did he call it? The reaction to the it was it's like a misandric reaction or something like that, right? There was a term that he used for that. And he tried to play that down like it's so insignificant. And that was the theme of this video, essentially. The theme of the video, especially the beginning, right? The first about 50 to 60%, right? Definitely the first 40% was, okay, we see that you got a little plight there. And maybe your feelings are a little hurt because black women are doing better than you in life. But can you like tamp that down and consider the black women still? The harm distribution, black men, the harm distribution, right? Your hurt, black men, your death is not more important than black women's hurt feelings. Don't you get it? Right? You not being able to read on grade level is not as important as black girls and black women and who didn't take them to prom and who didn't find them attractive. Your death or you not being employed is not as important as the fact that the black girl that actually, or the black woman that actually works in this firm isn't getting piped down by the lead attorney who's a white man. So you not being employed because you're a straight black man is not more important than the fact that the white man that's the lead attorney, it doesn't find this black woman attractive. Right? Harm distribution, black men, harm distribution. You not voting in a specific direction to punish a political party is not more important than the black women that would benefit from you voting for that political party. Dear black men, and y'all give me a second, y'all. Y'all give me a second. And yes, Mr. Z is actually at Popeyes today. So go ahead and send them Popeyes funds. I'll pause right here. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Y'all give me a second. I didn't realize I had myself muted for like the when I was trying to make a comment. First, let's get this ready. Um, and if I didn't say it out loud, I'll just say it again. And Big Kev says, and thank you for the super chat, Big Kev. Big Kev says, empirically, black men experience more racism than black women. And you know, if we're gonna play oppression Olympics, which is what black women have been doing, that is and that is what intersectionality is. It's playing oppression Olympics, and I think it's a very slippery slope for both parties involved. But if we're gonna play it, then black men are gonna win that, unfortunately. Right? Unfortunately, black men will win oppression Olympics. Right? And I don't think it's a smart move. I don't. Once again, these people didn't expect us to actually respond, especially not this early, and especially poke holes in their arguments and expose the holes in their arguments. Right? That was never supposed to happen. That was never supposed to happen. Right? And I clicked the link. I clicked the link. I put the link in the description box, right? Just because I want you guys to, you can actually watch it. FD already got his money and his views anyway, so you know. And to see what he's arguing, and like I said, he did acknowledge, you know, black men are the most progressive group of men in the country. I would tell him, much to many black women's dismay and chagrin, and not just the conservative black women either, right? Thank you. And what you find is that many of these black women are progressive or liberal right up until it comes down to talking about black men and their issues and their plights, and then all of a sudden we conservative as hell and black men just need to lift themselves up by their bootstraps type talk. The same people like Kim Foster who got a real issue with the fact that in our society we like overly punishing people, right? We get off on like draconian, there we go, punishment. All of a sudden, when she talking about black men, she turned real conservative real quick, right? Because she don't really mean it. That part. And thank you, Spain Man, for the 2. And Spain Man says they got cookies right now. Now, right? I didn't ask, but I'm almost sure they didn't. Right? Everybody knows we go to Popeyes for the food, and definitely not for the hospitality and not for the workers, because yeah, the spicy chicken from Popeyes is the ish, but you got to deal with a whole lot of ish. Put it in the book, right? And then once again, thank you for the super chat, Spain Man. Hysterical. I didn't want to ask because I was like, yeah, this I just let me get the 4 and this and that, and yeah. I'm out of there. Skirt. Right. And so, you know, this is something we really got to consider. What the brother FD is, it seems as if he's attempting to do, is just get us right back to deferring to the women in their plight, or their perceived plight, or the fact that who they want don't want them. And that's what a lot of it is. Especially for the successful black women, the upwardly mobile black women, their real issue now is, why can't I get the man I want? Which is like He-Man, but that bows to me and considers me more than himself. Right? Intersectionality got us all type of messed up, brother FD. It got us all type of messed up. Because what it really is patriarchy without the patriarchs. It's the hive model. It's the worker bees. It's the ones that get to procreate. I mean, you see it happening now. Right? And it's insulting to continuously tell men, black men of all, black men, to continue to ignore their issues, their plight, right? Because some black women's got some hurt feelings. Because they want to win oppression Olympics so they could get a couple of crumbs flicked off the table by white racists, liberals, right? i.e. BLM. How you build a whole movement off of the dead bodies of black men and then try to like marginalize black men in the family structure? That's what we're talking about, brother. So yes, do black men, particularly black men in the black manosphere, talk about their hurt feelings? Yes. Yes, they do. But is it all about their hurt feelings? No. Black boys not being able to read on reading level is not just about hurt feelings. Black men being murdered by the state is not just about hurt feelings. Black men not being hired even when they're academically accomplished and when they have the ability and the know-how is not about just their hurt feelings. Black men being seen as the boogeyman in this country, particularly in the black community, is not about just their hurt feelings. This is bigger than black men's hurt feelings. This is bigger than just about who didn't pick black men, who didn't go to prom with black men when they were boys back in high school, who wasn't checking for black young men in college. This is bigger than that. Go ask Kim Foster if it's bigger than that for her. Go ask Khadijah if it's bigger than that for her. Go ask them. And check out their content and see what they continuously go back to over and over and over again. I don't even have a tenth of these people's subscribers numbers. And Mr. Z didn't cover the gamut in my political conversation. We're entering election season. Watch how many black men, both conservative and liberal and progressive in the black manosphere, watch us debate each other, watch us argue with each other, watch us bark at each other, watch us span the gamut, and watch those women over there make a couple videos, if best, about the political environment, because they don't actually care. Much of their project is really just getting back at black boys and black men because of who didn't want them. Our issues are bigger than feelings over here, FD. and to tell us to consider harm distribution. That's all we've been doing for the better part of the past 40, 50 years, is putting black women's harm above everyone else's, including the children's. Yikes. We put black women's little feelings above your girls and your boys. That's how we got here. We got here mainly because elite black women wanted us to care about their little hurt feelings, because the white boys in college ain't checking and the white men in the office ain't checking. They wanted us to consider them and their little hurt feelings more than everybody else and everything else. And to tell black men to continuously recreate that is insulting. Consider harm distribution. Brother FD Signifier, you forgot black women kill black men too, right? You forgot that? These black boys are mainly going to schools with black teachers, black female teachers, and they can't read on reading level. You got black professional women killing their sons, brother. Harm distribution. You got black women online getting their little feelings hurt while we all playing the dozens, and then try to call the YouTube authorities on a black man. And then went even further than that and try to get their attorney involved. Kim Foster. Harm distribution. Every time we play the dozens, black women get their feeling hurt and go run into white daddy. And you want to talk about harm distribution? Who's the one calling the cops to help them with their insane black baby mama or black wife, and then they're the ones who get murdered by the cops? Harm distribution. Who's the one who know we live in a white racist country, and then they call the cops to come regulate their boyfriend or their husband, and the cop kills that man, and then now they with the crocodile tears, when, let's be honest, that's what they wanted. Harm distribution. Harm distribution? We got black women, both academic, intelligent, educated black women, all the way to black women that are not that they can't even put two words together in a coherent sentence, can't rub two pennies together. And they all know how to weaponize white racist society against black men. And you want to talk about harm distribution? Because a couple of these women got their little feelings hurt? Harm distribution. Right? It's insulting to continuously tell black men to consider the feelings of black women who use the white racist state against them to regulate them. You use the example of going and get gas instead of your wife, and I applaud that as a husband. I hope to follow in those footsteps. I respect that, truly. But let's be very clear. Whether it's a random Negro to the racist state to a racist vigilante, they will kill you before they do anything to harm your wife. If you want to talk about harm distribution. FD, your heavyset brother with dreads, they will murder you, brother. The state would murder you. A random Negro would murder you. A racist vigilante, whether white, Latino, Asian, or otherwise, would murder you before they probably even say something disparaging to your wife. If you want to talk about harm distribution, y'all noses are so far up intersectionality's ass that y'all never actually think that you're a black man when it comes to black women and what that means for you. Screw that. What that means for the black boys. We're so hard up on protecting the feelings and the sensibilities of black women. We don't even want to say that many of these black women don't know how to teach our black boys anymore. Yikes. Oh yeah, Mr. Z going at black teachers right now. The therapist is not a one-off. Y'all forgot Stefco was a teacher? And I don't want her teaching credentials to be stripped from her. We don't know how good or bad of a teacher she was, but listen to how this woman speaks about her relations with black men or lack thereof. And remember that she was a teacher. We've had black female attorneys, man, talk crazy about black men. Come on, man. And Leon, what's going on, Leon? And Leon, my fellow progressive brother, and Leon says, no, Mr. Z, black men are the most progressive. But they still have this attachment to patriarchy and patriarchal thinking. Meanwhile, the women are screaming. Listen, if you don't really follow these people content, you won't catch the times where they lament their position, like Kim Foster speaking about, how much money she earned and how she's gonna have to, come to, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, gonna have to come to terms with she's gonna be the primary breadwinner in whatever relationship she's in. And the way she said it, you could see first she lamented it. Black men that's earning some $300,000 a year don't lament having to be the primary breadwinner in a relationship. And we making the type of money off of YouTube and off of other endeavors that Kim Foster is making, it's not even noteworthy that we're going to be the ones that's primarily paying for stuff, and we earn more than whatever spouse we may encounter. It's not even noteworthy. We won't even say, that's not even something to talk about. Meanwhile, when Kim mentions it, you could tell from the sound of her voice and the context that this is okay. I guess I have to deal with it. And this is a whole black feminist, right? This is a whole black feminist. Right? So we need to stop pretending like these people aren't who they are. They are who they are. Right? Feminists in theory, and even in practice to a certain extent, right up until it comes down to losing some of those boons and some of that positivity and some of those the air quotes greatness that comes from this patriarchy that they rail against. Right? Like I said, patriarchy without the patriarchs. It's insulting, brother, to say consider harm distribution, like we haven't already considered black women's feelings and what's going on with them to the detriment of every other group of people in the black community. That even includes black LGBTQ, who will tell you, yeah, black women and us are lying on those Negroes ain't ish. But then they throw us under the bus the first chance they get. Even black LGBTQ be slipping and spilling the beans every once in a while. That's lesbian women, that's gay black men. The black boys that are now black men, we chastise them for being honest about who their mama was. Well, your daddy wasn't there. Yeah, my mom was. Now, let me tell you what my mom was on. And we tell them to shut up because at least she was there. Are you serious? We tell those grown men who are dealing with trauma because of all the negative things their mom was. Okay, she paid bills. She made sure he could eat, maybe.
And we tell those men to shut up because at least she was there. What? Right? We don't even let the girls speak. Every once in a while, a black woman is willing to tell you about her mom and what her mom was on and how the harm her mom did to her psyche. And y'all try to act like those black women don't exist. Right? And Big Kev says antagonizing black men is central to their identity, and that's why I don't have a problem antagonizing these women. By the way, like I said, they're putting that into their vocabulary also because they have to come to terms with the fact that black men aren't actually harming them in the way that they've said over the past 50 years, and they've been doing a whole lot of exaggerating, right? And so now they're putting antagonizing in that conversation to just say again they feel insert because we making fun of them. While they make fun of us with a bigger microphone. They're using the white man's microphone and penis to make fun of us. And when we respond in kind, now we're antagonizing them. Right? And the brother FD wants us to consider the harm distribution. We are. We have. And what we realize is that what you have over there, what Trell said, leaves a lot to be desired. Right? Thank you, Trell. I'll make 300K. I get at least 2 B's, no question asked. Bruh, all these people are mad that they make the money and they have the education and they love that about themselves. But then when it's time to date and get married, now they lament having it. What? Because what it means for their dating life, because their ginies can't get wet for men that they're more formally educated than, for men that don't earn as much as them. You F those type of dudes. You have children by those type of dudes. But now that it's time to get married and put it on paper, now your Johnny can't get wet for those same type of guys. Man, if y'all don't get the hell up out of here. And the brother wants us to consider harm distribution. While your boys can't read on reading level, and most of their teachers are black women. Your boys can't read on reading level. You want us to consider harm distribution and the patriarchy, while your boys mainly are coming into contact with black single mothers, black lesbian coaches, black teachers, black female teachers, excuse me, black female principals in a black hood. And we talking about harm distribution. What? Half the reason why so many black men aren't part of the black community is because of the harm distribution. Yikes, Mr. Z. It's because of the harm. And then us telling them, yeah, your little cute plight, shut up, go away. We're not going to backtrack into intersectional ways of feeling and thinking anymore, brother FD signifier. Those days are done. Those days are done. Right? Harm distribution is real, y'all. But it ain't what he's talking about. It's not what brother FD's talking about. Bro, did you just assent? Because, I don't think, how am I saying this? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you don't you haven't considered the way this is going to hit the ears of other black men, particularly black men in the black manosphere, FD signifier. Maybe you haven't considered that. Maybe you haven't considered that pretty much what black men heard, including Mr. Z, was, yeah, okay, maybe, kind of, sort of. You got a couple of issues, but remember, the black women's issues are greater. And her major issue is patriarchy. Meanwhile, she wants patriarchy. And Trell Billy said, Big Kev, what? Look, Mr. Z is all for Big Kev and Trell Bentley going to war, throwing money on the table for Mr. Z. Right? Y'all got me sounding like a stripper right now. Trying to see who's going to spend more money while I give this intellectual lap dance. And a well-ordered feminist society, it would look like something like that. Ugh. Right? In a well-ordered feminist society, that's what it would look like, right? Ugh. Oh. Right. Hysterical. And for those of you that didn't see what Trell is responding to, where's the comment that Big Kev put? And Big Kev said, be sure to donate to Mr. Z, Trell Bentley. And then Trell Bentley put the 5 on it and said, Big Kev, what? Right. And on that note, I don't need to belabor it too much further. And I've reached my destination, and it's about that time. Thank y'all for being here with me. And I'm willing to, I need to reach out to FD to have a conversation about, some of this. I don't know if he be willing to have that conversation, but I want to, right? Because I actually think there's something to be gained from this, but it's not about talking just to talk, but I think FD, and okay, fine, to all the black feminists over there, whether male or female, y'all need to start talking to the women about what's not gonna come with a dearth of patriarchy or black male leadership or male leadership in general. Y'all gotta be honest with them and see how quickly they'll be like, oh, hell no. Right? Tell them what men are not going to do. Because we no longer know how to incentivize them. If we tell, oh yeah, by the way, that nuclear family, yeah, no. That heterosexual nuclear family you want, yeah, nah, we can't promise you that. Oh yeah, and you being the leaders of your home, yeah, we can't promise you that either. And you not being with an a-hole woman that weaponizes the state against you, yeah, we can't promise you that either. Right? We can't even promise you that this person that you see standing in front of you that appears to be a woman is a woman. A biologically born woman. We can't even promise you that. So be honest with the women, black women in particular, about what black men aren't going to do. Because we don't know how to incentivize them to do it while telling them, yeah, Negro, all of that stuff you asking for, we ain't doing none of it. Right? So before you ask us to drop this patriarchy that never existed in the black community, before you tell us to drop that, go tell the women what's not gonna come with black men even with black men not aspiring for some type of patriarchal notion, even with the lowercase p patriarchy, right? So have that conversation with those people over there first, then come talk to us, right? You're not even The brother literally said, "Why?" Essentially, these lies stand on black men, brother, because there's black women that are invested in keeping the lie. The black community is invested in keeping the lie. It's not just white racist society. Black people, black women, namely, are invested in keeping the lie going that black men are these kind of borderline primates just waiting to walk into the black community and rip black women's heads off and hurt black children, right? They're invested in that lie, in that caricature of black men. How else would they get money from white racist feminists and white men in academia, white racist men in academia that claim to be part of the left? How else are you going to garner support and money from white racists in academia if you don't speak about black men the way they consider black men? Yes, even the white women that secretly again pipe down by those same black men that black men are talking crap. Black women are talking crap about. Let me say that again. White racist women who encourage black women in academia to write books, to publish articles, to intellectualize their misandry towards black men. Meanwhile, these same white women are having sex with those same black men. Wait a minute, Mr. Z. Those same white men are having sex with those same black men. Yikes. Right? That's the issue we have. So, coming to a close, brother, we are considering harm distribution, and that's why we sound the way we do. Black women, part of this kind of black internet space, talking about black femicide, not being honest that like the top 9-10 causes of death for black women are pretty much all diet related, and they want to talk about black femicide. Like black men are waking up in the morning targeting black women. Meanwhile, black men's number one victim and the number one victim of black men are other black men. But black women act like what black men are doing is waking up and writing rap lyrics about how they're going to murder a black woman. Not another black man, but a black woman. Black femicide, right? Harm distribution, right? So I'll pause right here for now. And y'all, let me pause right here. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll pause right here. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Thank you for being in. For those of you, FD Signifier already got his money and his view, so it's no problem with y'all going to check out the video. The link is in the description, and so y'all can see what I'm responding to. Like I said, I don't harbor any true ill will towards the brother FD. I just think his agenda and the black feminist agenda will bring more harm to the black community because we're still talking about black women's feelings. This is not about harm, brother. Shout out to Big Kev. This is about them feeling like we're antagonizing them because we're responding to all of the BS misandry that they've been on for decades, centuries, decades. Right? And so I'll truly pause right here. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. All right, everybody. Mr. Z out.